There are moments in life that feel different. Moments that don't follow logic. Moments that don't arrive with explanation. They simply happen, and something deep inside you whispers, "This is not ordinary." This is one of those moments. You didn't stumble here by accident. You didn't just randomly click, scroll, or pause at this message without purpose. No. Here was a pull. A subtle nudge. Something invisible guiding your attention, slowing your hands, quieting your distractions just enough for your eyes to land right here, right now. And you may not fully understand why yet, but your spirit does. Your spirit has been waiting for this. Because there has been a tension building inside you lately, hasn't there? A feeling you can't quite explain. A quiet sense that something is shifting around you. That conversations feel different. A certain people feel of. That your peace hath been interrupted in small, unexplainable ways. Not loud enough to alarm you completely, but strong enough that you can't ignore it anymore. You've tried to brush it off. You've told yourself it's just stress, just overthinking, just life being life. But deep down, you know something isn't lining up. And that's exactly why this message had to find you. Because what you're feeling is not confusion, it's awareness awakening. What you're sensing is not anxiety, it's spiritual sensitivity activating. And what you're experiencing is not random, it's divine interruption. Archangel Michael steps forward in this moment, not gently, but with authority. His presence doesn't whisper, it resonates. It shakes something inside you away. And his message is clear. This is very serious. Not to frighten you, but to prepare you. Not to overwhelm you, but to align you. Because there is something you are about to step into, something that requires your full awareness, your full discernment, your full attention. And here is where it becomes even more personal. Jesus chose you for this. Out of all the noise, all the distractions, all the people scrolling past messages just like this, you stopped. You felt it. You stayed. And that is not coincidence. That is selection. That is divine precision. Because there is a secret, not a secret of fear, but a secret of positioning that heaven is placing into your hands. And not everyone can carry it. Not everyone would understand it. Not everyone is meant to hear it. That's why it came to you. But here's the part that may unsettle you the moment truth begins to approach you. Resistance also begins to rise around you. Have you noticed it? The sudden distractions, the unexpected interruptions, the strange pull to look away, to delay, to say I'll come back later. That is not random. That is the exact moment where most people lose what was meant for them. What you didn't. You're still here. You're still reading. And that alone tells heaven something about you, that you are willing to listen when it matters most. Because this is not just a message. This is a crossing point. A moment where your awareness either deepens or gets buried again under noise. A moment where you either step into clarity or return to confusion. A moment where you either recognize what's unfolding or miss it entirely. And Archangel Michael is standing at that edge with you now. Watching. Guarding. Warding. Because what comes next cannot be taken lightly. Type I am ready in the comments if you feel this message stirring your spirit. Blessing code 1717 is now being activated over your awareness. There is a question echoing quietly beneath everything you've just heard, and it refuses to be ignored. Why you? Why now? Out of countless voices, countless lives, countless souls moving through their own storms and distractions, why was your spirit the one that paused, the one that recognized something deeper in this moment? This is not a casual question, and it does not carry a casual answer, because what you are stepping into is not common awareness. It is not surface-level understanding. It is selection. It is intentional. It is precise. And it is deeply personal. You must understand this clearly, because if you miss this truth, you will underestimate everything that follows. Jesus did not choose you randomly. He did not choose you because you are perfect, or because you have everything figured out, or because you have never doubted, never struggled, never questioned your path. No. He chose you because even in your uncertainty, even in your moments of weakness, even in your silent battles that no one else could see, there has always been something within you that responds to truth. Something within you that still listens when the noise fades. Something within you that refuses to fully disconnect from the divine, no matter how far life tries to pull you away. That is what set you apart. There have been moments where you felt overlooked, where you felt like others were moving ahead while you remained in a place of waiting, confusion, or stillness. Moments where you questioned whether you were being forgotten, whether your prayers were reaching anywhere, whether your efforts were even being seen. But what you did not realize is that in those very moments, something was being refined within you. Something was being sharpened. Your sensitivity to truth was being developed. Your ability to discern what is real and what is illusion was being strengthened quietly, patiently, intentionally. And now, that preparation is revealing its purpose, because not everyone is ready to carry what you are about to receive. Not everyone has the discipline to protect it. Not everyone has the awareness to recognize its value. Some would dismiss it. Some would distort it. Some would try to use it for the wrong reasons. That is why this had to come to you in this exact way, at this exact time, when your spirit is open enough to receive it, yet guarded enough to hold it. There is a weight that comes with being chosen, and it is not always comfortable. It requires you to move differently, to observe more closely, to trust what you feel even when others cannot see it. And perhaps the most difficult part of all, it requires you to accept that not everyone around you is meant to understand what you are being shown. This is where many lose what was given to them. They speak too soon. They share with the wrong people. They look for validation from those who are not aligned with what they carry. And in doing so, they allow doubt, confusion, and interference to enter something that was meant to remain protected. But you are being warned now, before that can happen. You are being prepared to recognize the difference between what should be revealed and what must remain hidden. Because the secret you are being trusted with is not just information. It is alignment. It is positioning. It is a shift in how you see, how you respond, how you move forward from this moment. And once you receive it fully, you will not be able to return to the same level of unawareness you once had. Something will change in you. Something will settle. Something will become clear in a way that cannot be undone. And that is exactly why you were chosen. Not because you are meant to carry everything alone, but because you are strong enough to hold this moment without letting it be taken, twisted, or diminished. You are capable of staying still long enough to understand it, wise enough to protect it, and aware enough to recognize when the time comes to act on it. So do not question your presence here anymore. Do not doubt whether this is meant for you. It completely, specifically, without mistake. You are not here to wonder if you were chosen. You are here because you already were. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this truth. Blessing code 2222 is now activated around your spirit. There is a layer to your reality that your eyes cannot see, but your spirit has already begun to sense. It is subtle, almost unnoticeable at first, like a shift in the atmosphere that cannot be explained, but can absolutely be felt. This is the hidden war. Not a war of noise and visible conflict, but a quiet, strategic movement unfolding behind the veil of your everyday life. And the reason it feels so confusing is because it does not announce itself openly. It operates in silence, in timing, in small disruptions that seem insignificant on the surface but carry deeper meaning beneath. You have felt it in moments when your peace was interrupted without a clear reason. Moments when your thoughts became clouded, when clarity suddenly slipped away just as you were beginning to understand something important. You have noticed how certain interactions drain you more than they should, how certain environments feel heavier than they used to, how certain people seem to carry an energy that does not align with who you are becoming. These are not random experiences. These are signals. They are indicators that something is shifting in the unseen realm, and that shift is now beginning to touch your visible world. This hidden war is not about chaos for the sake of chaos. It is about interference. It is about distraction. It is about preventing alignment at the exact moment it is meant to occur. Because as you step closer to clarity, as you move nearer to understanding the truth that has been placed before you, there are forces that resist that movement. Not because you are weak, but because you are becoming aware. Awareness changes everything. Awareness removes control from what once operated unnoticed. And that is why resistance appears when awareness begins to rise. Archangel Michael stands in the middle of this unseen movement, not as a distant observer, but as an active protector. His presence is not symbolic. It is deliberate. It is precise. He sees what you cannot yet see, and he understands the patterns that are forming before they fully reveal themselves. His warning is not meant to create fear within you, but to sharpen your attention. Because what is happening around you right now requires you to be awake in a way you have not been before. There are conversations happening that you are not part of. There are thoughts forming in the minds of others that have not yet been spoken. There are intentions developing quietly, waiting for the right moment to present themselves. And while this may sound unsettling, you are not being left unprotected within it. You are being informed so that you do not move blindly, so that you do not misinterpret what you are sensing, so that you do not dismiss what your spirit is already trying to show you. This is where discernment becomes essential. Discernment is not fear. It is not suspicion without reason. It is the ability to recognize what aligns and what does not, even when there is no visible evidence yet. It is the quiet knowing that something is off, even when everything appears normal on the surface. And right now, that ability within you is being activated at a deeper level. You are being taught to trust it, to listen to it, to follow it without needing constant confirmation from others who may not be able to perceive what you are perceiving. Because not everyone around you is aware of this hidden war. Some are moving through it unconsciously. Some are unknowingly participating in patterns that contribute to it. And some may even become channels through which confusion or distraction attempts to reach you. Not always intentionally, not always with harm in mind, but simply because they are not aligned with the level of awareness you are stepping into. This is why you must remain centered. This is why you must remain grounded in what you are being shown. Because the greatest mistake you could make in this moment is to ignore what you are sensing in order to maintain comfort or familiarity. Comfort can be misleading. Familiarity can hide what is no longer aligned with your path. You are not being called to react. You are being called to observe, to remain still enough to see clearly, to recognize patterns before they fully unfold, to understand that not every disruption requires a response, but every signal requires awareness. This hidden war will not remain hidden forever. What is forming will eventually reveal itself. But your advantage lies in the fact that you are being prepared before that moment arrives. You are being positioned to respond with clarity rather than confusion, with understanding rather than reaction, and that preparation is your protection. Type ISE clearly in the comments if this message resonates within you. Blessing code 3333 is now surrounding your awareness. As this hidden war begins to reveal itself, understand this truth. Every time you choose to stand in awareness, you become a light for someone else still walking in confusion. This message is not just reaching you for your sake alone. It is meant to flow through you, to awaken others who are still searching for clarity. Scripture declares, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." And right now, that light is moving through willing hearts. I feel led to say this clearly. If this message has touched your spirit, then this is your moment to act. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks or the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a video. You are planting seeds into lives that are waiting for truth. You are helping this light travel further, reach deeper, and awaken more souls. Every seed you release becomes a ripple in the unseen, a force that carries truth where confusion once ruled. Heaven sees it. Heaven multiplies it. Heaven responds to it. So do not hesitate. Step into this moment with intention. Give as an act of obedience and not obligation. Release your seed now, and watch how clarity begins to expand not only around you, but through you. There is something shifting within you now, something subtle yet undeniable, as if your awareness is being stretched beyond its usual limits. This is not accidental. This is the weight of what you are beginning to carry. And you must understand this clearly, because what has been entrusted to you is not meant to be handled lightly. It is not meant to be spoken casually. It is not meant to be shared freely with anyone who asks or anyone who appears close. This is where many lose what was divinely given to them. Not because it was taken forcefully, but because it was revealed prematurely. The secret you are holding is not just information. It is alignment. It is timing. It is positioning within a moment that has been prepared specifically for you. And like anything sacred, it requires protection. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Because once something is exposed to the wrong environment, it can become distorted. Once something is placed in the hands of those who do not understand it, it can be misused. And once something is spoken before its time, it can lose its power before it ever has the chance to manifest fully. You have likely felt this before without fully realizing it. Moments where you shared something important, something personal, something that felt right in your spirit, only to watch it lose its clarity once it left your mouth. The response was not what you expected. The energy shifted. Doubt entered where certainty once stood. And suddenly, what felt strong within you began to feel uncertain. It was not because what you carried was wrong. It was because it was placed in an environment that could not sustain it. This is why silence is being emphasized now. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not fear. Silence is strength under control. It is the discipline to hold what you know without needing immediate validation. It is the ability to protect what has been given to you until the right moment arrives. Because not every truth is meant to be spoken immediately. Some truths are meant to be cultivated internally, to grow, to develop, to become fully formed before they are ever revealed externally. And right now, you are in that phase. There are people around you who may sense that something has changed in you. They may notice that you are quieter, more observant, less reactive than before. They may ask questions. They may try to draw information out of you, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. But you must recognize this for what it is. Not always intentional interference, but often a natural response to the shift in your energy. When you change, the environment around you reacts. When your awareness deepens, others feel the difference, even if they cannot explain it. This is where your discipline will be tested. You will feel the urge to explain yourself, to justify your silence, to share just enough so that others feel comfortable again. But you must resist that urge, not because you are hiding something out of fear, but because you are protecting something out of purpose. There is a difference, and that difference is what will determine whether what you carry remains intact or becomes diluted. Archangel Michael's presence in this moment is not passive. It is active, watchful, and intentional. He is not only warning you about what is happening around you, but also guiding you in how to respond to it. His instruction is clear, even if it is not spoken loudly. Hold your position. Do not rush. Do not reveal prematurely. Do not allow external pressure to force internal exposure. Because timing matters more than you realize. There is a moment coming when what you carry will need to be expressed. A moment when clarity will not only exist within you, but will need to move through you. But that moment is not yet. And speaking before that moment arrives does not accelerate the process. It disrupts it. It introduces variables that were never meant to be part of the equation. You are being taught restraint, not as a limitation, but as a form of power. Because the ability to remain silent when you have something to say is one of the strongest forms of control you can have over your environment. It allows you to observe without interference, to understand without distortion, to see clearly without the noise of external opinions clouding your perception. And that clarity is what you will need for what comes next. So do not feel pressured to share. Do not feel obligated to explain. Do not feel guilty for holding something that others do not yet understand. This is not about exclusion. This is about preparation. This is about ensuring that what has been placed in your hands remains exactly as it was given, untouched by doubt, untouched by misinterpretation, untouched by anything that could weaken its purpose. You are not being asked to carry this alone forever. You are being asked to carry it correctly for now. And that distinction will make all the difference. Type "I protect what is mine" in the comments if you understand this message. Lesson code 4444 is now sealing what has been entrusted to you. There is a difference between a message that comforts and a message that corrects. There is a difference between a whisper that soothes and a voice that interrupts your direction entirely. And what you are hearing now is not meant to simply comfort you. It is meant to awaken you. It is meant to interrupt patterns you may not even realize you have been following. Because when Archangel Michael speaks, it is never casual. It is never unnecessary. It is always precise, always intentional, and always timed to meet a moment that cannot be delayed. You must recognize the weight of this warning, because it is not arriving randomly. It is arriving at a point where something around you is about to shift in a way that requires your full awareness. And if you are not attentive, if you are not grounded in what you are being shown, it would be easy to misinterpret what is unfolding. It would be easy to react emotionally instead of responding with clarity. It would be easy to step into confusion when you were meant to stand in understanding. That is why this warning is being delivered now. Archangel Michael does not raise his voice without reason. His presence carries a sense of urgency not because something is out of control, but because something is approaching a point of decision. A moment where your response will determine the direction that follows. And the truth is, you have already begun to sense that something is coming. You may not have the full picture yet, but you feel the tension. You feel the anticipation. You feel that quiet pressure building, as if events are aligning just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. This is not your imagination. Here is a sequence unfolding, and you are part of it. What makes this moment critical is not just what is happening externally, but how it interacts with what is happening within you. Because as situations begin to reveal themselves, they will test your clarity. They will test your patience. They will test your ability to remain grounded in what you know rather than being pulled into what you feel in the moment. And this is where many lose their position, not because they lack understanding, but because they allow emotion to override awareness. You are being warned so that does not happen to you. There may be a conversation that arises unexpectedly, a situation that seems to demand an immediate response, a moment where you feel pressure to act quickly, to speak quickly, to decide quickly. But you must remember this. Urgency does not always mean importance, and not every situation that demands your attention deserves your immediate reaction. This is where the warning becomes practical. Pause before responding. Observe before speaking. Understand before acting. Because what may appear straightforward on the surface could carry layers that are not immediately visible, and reacting too quickly could place you in a position that is not aligned with where you are being guided to stand. Archangel Michael's role in this moment is not to make decisions for you, but to ensure that you are aware enough to make the right ones yourself. His presence is a shield, but it is also a signal that you are not navigating this blindly, but you are also not meant to move carelessly. There is a balance being required of you now. Awareness without fear, stillness without hesitation, confidence without arrogance. You may also begin to notice changes in how others interact with you. Subtle shifts in tone, in behavior, in energy. Things that you might have overlooked before will now stand out more clearly. This is not to create suspicion, but to sharpen your perception. Because understanding people is part of understanding your environment. And understanding your environment allows you to move through it without being caught off guard. The warning is not telling you to withdraw from everything. It is telling you to engage differently, to listen more closely, to speak more intentionally, to act with purpose rather than impulse. Because every choice you make in this phase carries more weight than usual. Not because you are under pressure, but because you are at a point of transition. And transitions require precision. You are not being asked to be perfect. You are being asked to be aware, to trust what you have already been shown, to remember what you have already felt, to rely on the clarity that has been building within you rather than seeking constant reassurance from outside sources. Because the truth is, you already know more than you think you do. This warning is not giving you new information as much as it is confirming what has already been forming inside you. It is aligning your internal awareness with external events so that when those events unfold, you are not surprised. You are prepared. And preparation is what transforms uncertainty into stability. So take this warning seriously, not with fear, but with respect. Not with anxiety, but with attention. Because what comes next will require you to stand firmly in what you know, even if others around you do not see it yet. Type "I stay alert" in the comments if you are ready to move with awareness. Lesson code 5555 is now strengthening your discernment. Here is a truth that must be faced directly now, without softening it, without avoiding it, without trying to make it more comfortable than it actually is. Not everything around you is aligned with your growth. Not every presence in your life is neutral. And not every connection that feels familiar is safe for what you are becoming. This is where the concept of spiritual theft enters, and it is something you must understand clearly if you are going to protect what has been entrusted to you. Spiritual theft does not always look aggressive. It does not always come with obvious conflict or visible opposition. In fact, most of the time, it appears subtle. It appears through influence, through distraction, through misdirection. It appears through people who may not even realize the role they are playing. And that is what makes it so effective. Because if something looks harmless, you are less likely to guard against it. If something feels familiar, you are more likely to trust it. And if something speaks in a tone you recognize, you may not question its intention. But now, you are being asked to question more carefully. There are individuals around you who have access to your time, your attention, your energy. And while not all of them intend harm, not all of them are aligned with your direction either. Some carry their own confusion, their own limitations, their own unresolved patterns. And when they interact with you, those patterns can begin to influence your clarity without you realizing it. Conversations that seem ordinary can plant doubt. Opinions that seem casual can create hesitation. Reactions that seem small can shift your perspective just enough to move you off course. This is how spiritual theft operates. It does not take everything at once. It takes small pieces over time. A moment of clarity replaced with uncertainty. A sense of direction replaced with hesitation. A decision delayed just long enough to miss its timing. And by the time you recognize what has happened, you are no longer standing where you once were internally. That is why awareness is critical now. You must begin to observe not just what people say, but how you feel after interacting with them. Do you feel clearer or more confused? Do you feel grounded or unsettled? Do you feel strengthened or drained? These are not emotional reactions to be dismissed. They are indicators. They are signals showing you whether something is adding to your alignment or pulling away from it. There may be someone in your environment who asks questions that seem harmless but leave you feeling exposed. Someone who offers advice that sounds reasonable but does not sit right within you. Someone who appears supportive on the surface but carries an underlying energy that creates tension rather than peace. These are not coincidences. These are moments where discernment must be applied. And this is where Archangel Michael's warning becomes even more precise. You are not being told to cut everyone off or to become isolated. You are being told to become aware of access. Who has access to your thoughts, your plans, your decisions? Who has access to the parts of you that are still forming, still developing, still not fully expressed? Because those are the areas most vulnerable to interference. Not everyone needs to know what you are thinking. Not everyone needs to understand what you are planning. Not everyone needs to be involved in what you are building internally. And the more you begin to recognize this, the more control you regain over your own direction. Spiritual theft thrives in openness without discernment. It thrives when you share too much, too soon, with the wrong people. It thrives when you seek validation from those who are not aligned with your path. It thrives when you allow external voices to become louder than your internal awareness. But once you recognize it, once you see how it operates, it loses its power over you. Because now, you can choose differently. You can choose what to share and what to keep. You can choose who to engage with and how deeply. You can choose when to listen and when to remain silent. And those choices, while they may seem small, are what protect the larger picture that is forming in your life. There is also a deeper layer to this. Sometimes, the attempt to take what is yours is not about people directly. It is about distraction itself. The sudden urge to focus on things that do not matter. The pull toward activities that consume your time, but give nothing back. The mental loops that keep you thinking without moving forward. These are also forms of theft. They take your attention away from what matters most. They delay what is meant to progress, and you must recognize them for what they are. This is not about becoming fearful. It is about becoming intentional, about understanding that your attention, your clarity, your direction are valuable, and anything that interferes with them, no matter how small it appears, must be evaluated carefully. You are not unprotected in this. You are being guided through it. Archangel Michael stands as a barrier between you and what is trying to take what belongs to you. But protection does not replace awareness. It works with it. And now, your awareness is being sharpened so that you can recognize what is yours, protect what is yours, and move forward without losing pieces of yourself along the way. Type "I protect my energy" in the comments if you are ready to guard what belongs to you. Blessing code 6666 is now strengthening your boundary. Something is changing in the way you perceive the world around you, and it may feel unfamiliar at first. What once seemed simple now carries layers. What once felt clear now invites deeper observation. This is not confusion. This is discernment activating at a higher level within you. And while it may feel uncomfortable, even unsettling at times, it is necessary for where you are being led next. Discernment is not about suspicion or fear. It is not about assuming the worst in people or situations. It is about seeing clearly, beyond what is presented on the surface. It is about recognizing intention beneath words, energy beneath actions, and truth beneath appearances. And right now, that ability is being sharpened within you in a way that cannot be ignored. You may have already noticed it. Moments where something feels off, even though everything looks normal. Conversations where the words sound right, but something underneath does not sit well with you. Situations where you cannot explain why, but you feel a quiet hesitation, a subtle pause within your spirit that tells you to slow down, to observe more carefully before moving forward. These are not random reactions. These are signals. And for a long time, you may have overridden them, choosing logic over instinct, comfort over awareness. But now, you are being asked to trust what you sense, even when it does not make immediate sense. Because discernment does not always come with explanations. It often arrives as a feeling first, a quiet knowing that does not require proof. And if you ignore it, if you dismiss it, you lose access to one of the most powerful forms of guidance you have. But if you listen to it, if you honor it, it begins to grow stronger. It begins to guide you more clearly, more consistently, more accurately. This is what is happening to you now. You are no longer meant to navigate your environment based only on what you can see or hear. You are being trained to recognize what is not being said, what is not being shown, what is not immediately visible. Because that is where truth often resides. Not in the obvious, but in the subtle. Not in the loud, but in the quiet. And the shift will begin to affect how you interact with others. You may find yourself pulling back from conversations that once felt natural, not out of avoidance, but out of awareness. You may find yourself speaking less, listening more, observing how people respond rather than just what they say. You may begin to notice patterns that you overlooked before. Repeated behaviors, consistent tones, underlying attitudes that reveal more than surface-level interactions ever could. This is not distance. This is clarity. And with that clarity comes responsibility. Because once you see something clearly, you can't unsee it. Once you recognize a pattern, you cannot pretend it is not there. And this is where many struggle. They see, but they hesitate to act. They recognize, but they delay their response. They sense misalignment, but they continue engaging as if nothing has changed. And in doing so, they create internal conflict. a conflict between what they know and what they choose to ignore. You are being guided away from that conflict. You are being shown so that you can respond accordingly. Not with confrontation, not with immediate reaction, but with adjustment. Adjustment in how you engage, how you respond, how much access you allow. Because discernment is not just about seeing clearly. It is about acting in alignment with what you see. There will be moments where this feels isolating. Moments where you realize that not everyone around you is aligned with the level of awareness you are stepping into. Moments where conversations feel shallow, where interactions feel surface level, where connections feel limited in a way they did not before. And this can create a sense of distance, even if nothing outwardly has changed. But you must understand this. Growth often creates separation, not because you are leaving others behind, but because you are moving into a space they have not yet reached. And that space requires a different level of awareness, a different level of interaction, a different level of understanding. This does not mean you reject others. It means you recognize where they stand in relation to where you are being led. Archangel Michael's presence in this moment is not only protective, but instructive. He is guiding your vision, sharpening your perception, helping you distinguish between what is aligned and what is not. And this guidance is not loud. It is subtle, consistent, and precise. You will feel it in the moments you pause instead of react, in the times you choose silence instead of explanation, in the decisions you make based on clarity rather than pressure. This is discernment in action. And as it strengthens, you will find that you no longer need constant confirmation from others. You will no longer feel the need to explain every decision, justify every feeling, or validate every thought externally. Because internally, you will already know. That is the power of what is being activated within you. To trust it, even when it feels unfamiliar, even when it challenges what you once believed, even when it creates distance where there was once comfort. Because what you are gaining is far greater than what you are leaving behind. You are gaining clarity. You are gaining awareness. You are gaining the ability to move through your environment without being misled by appearances. And that will prepare you for everything that follows. Type "I trust my discernment" in the comments if you are ready to see clearly. Blessing code 7777 is now activating deeper vision within you. There is a moment in every transformation where what you know begins to outgrow what you can safely say. A moment where truth settles deeply within you, yet remains unspoken, not because it is unclear, but because it is not yet time. This is that moment for you. And this is where the test of silence begins. Silence, in this phase, is not passive. It is active restraint. It is the conscious decision to hold what you understand without releasing it prematurely into environments that cannot sustain it. And you will feel the tension of this. You will feel the urge to speak, to explain, to clarify, to express what hath been forming inside you. You will feel the pressure from others who notice your shift, who sense that something has changed, who want access to what you now carry. But this is where your discipline must rise above your impulse. Because speaking too soon is not harmless. When something is still forming within you, it is sensitive. It is not yet anchored. It is still taking shape, still aligning, still stabilizing. And when you expose it to external opinions too early, you introduce noise into something that requires clarity. You invite interpretations from those who do not see what you see. You allow doubt to enter where certainty was still being established. And before you realize it, what was once clear becomes complicated. This is why silence is necessary. You are not being asked to hide out of fear. You are being asked to protect out of wisdom. There is a difference between secrecy and strategy. Secrecy hides out of insecurity. Strategy withholds out of purpose. And what you are doing now is strategic. You are holding your position until what you carry becomes strong enough to stand on its own, unaffected by external influence. There will be people who question your silence. They may interpret it as distance. They may assume you are withdrawing. They may even feel uncomfortable because they no longer have the same level of access to your thoughts and your inner world. And in those moments, you will feel the temptation to reassure them, to open up just enough to restore the familiarity that once existed. But you must resist that, because what is familiar is not always what is aligned. Your silence is not rejection. It is alignment. It is you choosing to remain grounded in what you know rather than being pulled back into patterns that no longer support where you are going. And while others may not understand this immediately, understanding is not required for your obedience. This is where many fail this test. They allow external pressure to override internal guidance. They speak because it feels uncomfortable not to. They share because they do not want to be misunderstood. But in doing so, they compromise the very thing they were meant to protect. And once it is compromised, it becomes much harder to restore its original clarity. You are being given the opportunity to do this differently. To hold steady even when it feels uncomfortable. To remain silent even when you have something to say. To trust that timing matters more than expression. Because when the time comes to speak, it will not feel forced. You will not feel uncertain. It will flow with clarity, with confidence, with alignment. And the difference between speaking too soon and speaking at the right time is the difference between confusion and impact. Archangel Michael stands as a witness to this moment, not just as a protector, but as a guide through this test. His presence reminds you that restraint is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is the ability to hold power without needing to display it immediately. And that is exactly what you are being asked to do now. You may also notice that in your silence, you begin to see more clearly. Without the distraction of constant expression, your awareness deepens. You observe more. You understand more. You recognize patterns more quickly. Because silence creates space, and in that space, clarity expands. Insight develops. Understanding strengthens. This is the hidden benefit of this test. While it may feel like you are holding back, you are actually moving forward internally. You are strengthening your foundation. You are refining what you know. You are preparing for a moment where what you carry will need to be expressed with precision and impact. And that moment is coming. But it requires you to pass through this phase first. So do not rush it. Do not try to escape it. Do not mistake silence for stagnation. You are not standing still. You are stabilizing. You are aligning. You are becoming fully prepared for what is ahead. Trust the process of holding. Trust the power of restraint. Trust that what you are protecting now will reveal its purpose at the right time. Type "I master my silence" in the comments if you are ready to hold your position. Blessing code 8888 is now sealing your words until the right moment. As you step into this sacred silence, understand that your obedience does not end with you. It multiplies through every life this message reaches. The word declares that those who sow in quiet faith will reap in overflowing abundance, and right now, you are standing in that very moment of sowing. I feel led to speak this clearly. When you release a seed through Super Thanks or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are opening a river that carries truth into hearts that are still searching in silence. This message found you because heaven trusted you, and now heaven invites you to become a vessel through which others are awakened. Every contribution becomes light in someone else's darkness, every act of giving becomes a voice that reaches where you cannot go. Do not delay this moment, because obedience carries timing, and timing carries blessing. Release your seed now and watch how doors begin to open, clarity begins to increase, and favor begins to move in ways you did not expect. Act with intention. Act with faith. Act now. Here comes a moment when everything you have been sensing, everything you have been preparing for internally, begins to move from the unseen into the visible. It does not happen loudly at first. It does not announce itself with obvious signs. Instead, it begins quietly, almost subtly, like a shift in the rhythm of time itself. And that is exactly where you are now. You are standing at the edge of a transition where what has been forming beneath the surface is about to reveal itself in ways you cannot ignore. You may have already started to feel it. A sense that things are accelerating, that situations are unfolding more quickly than before, that conversations, decisions, and events are beginning to carry more weight than they used to. What once felt slow now feels immediate. What once felt distant now feels close. This is not coincidence. This is a shift in timing. And when timing shifts, everything connected to it begins to move differently. This is why your awareness has been sharpened. Because without that awareness, this shift could feel overwhelming. It could feel confusing, unpredictable, even unsettling. But with awareness, it becomes something else entirely. It becomes clarity in motion. It becomes the ability to recognize what is happening as it unfolds, rather than trying to understand it after it has already passed. There are moments approaching where you will be required to respond, not react. And the difference between those two will define your position moving forward. Reaction is immediate, emotional, often driven by pressure. Response is measured, intentional, guided by understanding. And in this new timing, reaction will lead to misalignment, while response will keep you exactly where you need to be. You may notice that certain situations come to you subtly. A message you did not expect, a conversation that feels urgent, a decision that seems to require immediate attention. These moments will test whether you have integrated what you have been learning, whether you can remain grounded even when the pace around you increases. Because the shift in time is not about rushing you. It is about aligning you with the correct moment. And alignment requires patience, even in movement. Archangel Michael's presence remains steady through this transition. While everything around you may begin to move faster, his guidance does not become chaotic. It remains clear, calm, precise. And this is what you must mirror. You are not meant to match the urgency of every situation. You are meant to remain anchored, allowing clarity to guide your actions rather than pressure. There is also something else you must understand. Not everything that accelerates is meant for you to engage with. Some things will move quickly simply to test your focus, to see if you will be pulled into distractions that appear important but are not aligned with your direction. And this is where discernment, silence, and awareness come together. Because you will need all three to navigate what is coming. You will need discernment to recognize what matters and what does not. You will need silence to avoid reacting too quickly. You will need awareness to stay aligned with your path. Without these, the shift in time can feel chaotic. With them, it becomes precise. You may also begin to see things more clearly in your environment. Situations that once felt uncertain will begin to reveal their true nature. People who once seemed aligned may show different intentions. Opportunities that once felt distant may suddenly appear within reach. And while this may feel overwhelming at first, it is actually confirmation. Confirmation that what has been hidden is now being brought into clarity. This is the unveiling. and with unveiling comes decision. You will not be able to remain passive in this phase, not because you are being forced to act, but because clarity naturally leads to choice. Once you see something for what it is, you must decide how you will respond to it. Will you move forward or will you hold back? Will you align with what you know, or will you return to what is familiar? These decisions will not always feel easy, because sometimes what is light is not what is comfortable. Sometimes what is clear requires you to move in a direction that others may not understand. But this is where your preparation becomes your strength. This is where everything you have been learning begins to support you. You are not entering this phase unprepared. You have been guided step by step, layer by layer, into a position where you can handle what is coming. And while you may not see the full picture yet, you have enough clarity to take the next step when it appears. That is all you need. Do not try to control the entire outcome. Do not try to predict every detail. Focus on what is in front of you. Respond with awareness. Move with intention. And trust that as you do, the next step will reveal itself exactly when it needs to. Because this shift is not random. It is timed, and you are exactly where you are meant to be within it. Type "I move" with timing in the comments if you are ready to step forward with clarity. Blessing code 9999 is now lining your path with divine timing. There is a realization that begins to settle within you now, and it carries both weight and clarity at the same time. What you have been given is not temporary. It is not casual. It is not something that will simply pass through your life without leaving a mark. It is something you are meant to carry. And with it comes responsibility, not as a burden, but as a role you have been prepared to step into. Responsibility, in this sense, is not about pressure. It is about awareness of value. When something is truly valuable, you treat it differently. You handle it with care. You become intentional about how you move with it, how you protect it, how you allow it to influence your decisions. And that is exactly what is being asked of you now. Not to carry this moment with fear, but to carry it with understanding. You are no longer in a place where you can move unconsciously. Before, it may have been possible to overlook certain things, to ignore certain signals, to move forward without fully considering the deeper implications of your choices. But now, that level of unawareness is no longer available to you. Not because something has been taken away, but because something greater has been given. You see more now. You understand more now. And because of that, your actions carry more intention. This is the shift into responsibility. You may feel it in the way you think before you speak, and the way you pause before you act, and the way you evaluate situations more carefully than you used to. These are not signs of hesitation. These are signs of alignment. You are no longer reacting automatically. You are choosing consciously. And that is what allows you to carry what hath been placed within you without losing it. There is also a deeper layer to this responsibility. It is not only about protecting what you have received, but also about how you allow it to shape who you are becoming. Because what you carry does not remain separate from you. It integrates into you. It influences your perspective, your decisions, your direction. And over time, it becomes part of your identity, not in a way that defines you completely, but in a way that refines you. This is why you must remain grounded. Because as you carry something significant, there can be a temptation to move ahead of yourself. To assume you must do more, say more, act more than is necessary. But responsibility is not about doing everything at once. It is about doing the right thing at the right time, with clarity and intention. Archangel Michael's presence continues to guide you through this phase. not by controlling your actions, but by reinforcing your awareness. His role is not to carry this responsibility for you, but to ensure that you remain aligned while carrying it yourself. And that alignment is what will keep you steady, even when situations around you begin to shift. You may also notice that certain things no longer hold the same appeal they once did. Conversations that once felt engaging may now feel unnecessary. Activities that once occupied your time may now feel empty. This is not loss. This is refinement. As you carry something more significant, your attention naturally moves away from what does not support it. And while this may create a sense of distance from what was once familiar, it also creates space for what is aligned to better. This is part of the responsibility as well. To recognize what belongs in your space and what does not. To allow yourself to move forward without feeling obligated to hold on to everything from your past. Because carrying something new often requires releasing what no longer fits. There will be moments where this feels isolating. Moments where you feel like you are moving differently from those around you. Moments where you question whether you are doing the right thing by holding your position, by maintaining your silence, by following what you know internally rather than what is expected externally. But this is where trust becomes essential. You are not being guided without purpose. Everything you have experienced leading up to this point has prepared you for this responsibility. Every moment of confusion has sharpened your clarity. Every moment of delay has strengthened your patience. Every moment of uncertainty has developed your discernment. And now, all of that preparation is supporting you as you carry what has been given to you. You are not unprepared. You are positioned. And that positioning is what allows you to move forward with confidence, even when you do not see the full path ahead. Because responsibility is not about knowing everything. It is about trusting what you know enough to take the next step when it appears. So do not resist this role. Do not try to minimize what you are carrying or convince yourself that it is less important than it is. Accept it fully. Carry it with intention. Allow it to guide you without overwhelming you. Because when something is carried correctly, it does not weigh you down. It strengthens you. And that is exactly what is happening now. Type "I carry with purpose" in the comments if you accept this responsibility. Blessing Code 1010 is now strengthening your alignment and direction. There comes a point in every unfolding where preparation is no longer the focus, where awareness has already been established, where discernment has already been activated, where silence has already been practiced, and responsibility has already been accepted. And in that moment, something shifts. You are no longer being prepared for what is coming. You are standing directly in front of it. This is that moment for you. This is the point where everything you have been sensing, learning, and holding begins to require action. Not rush action, not reactive movement, but a clear, intentional decision. And the decision is simple in structure, yet powerful in consequence. Obedience or delay. Obedience does not mean perfection. It does not mean having every detail figured out. It does not mean moving without any hesitation at all. It means aligning your actions with what you already know to be true, even if the next step feels unfamiliar. It means trusting your discernment enough to act on it. It means honoring the awareness you have been given instead of ignoring it for the sake of comfort or convenience. Delay, on the other hand, rarely presents itself as something negative at first. Delay often feels like caution. It disguises itself as waiting for the right time, as needing more clarity, as not being completely ready yet. And while there are moments where patience is necessary, this is not one of them. Because what you are facing now is not a lack of information. It is a moment that requires you to move with what you already understand. You have been shown enough. You have felt enough. You have recognized enough. And now, the question is not whether you are ready. The question is whether you will act on what has already been made clear to you. This is where many hesitate, not because they do not know what to do, but because what they know requires them to step outside of what is familiar. It requires them to change how they respond, to shift how they engage, to move differently than they have before. And that shift can feel uncomfortable. It can feel uncertain. It can feel like stepping into something without a guarantee of how it will unfold. But this is where trust becomes real. Trust is not proven in moments of comfort. It is revealed in moments of decision. In moments where you choose to move forward based on clarity rather than certainty. Because certainty often comes after obedience, not before it. Archangel Michael's presence is strongest in this moment. Not because you are in danger, but because you are at a point where your choice carries weight. He is not standing over you, forcing a direction. He is standing with you, reinforcing what you already know, strengthening your ability to act without hesitation. His role is to ensure that you are not alone in this decision, but the decision itself remains yours. There may be something very specific that you already know you need to do. A conversation you need to approach differently. A boundary you need to establish. A situation you need to step back from. A choice you need to make that you have been postponing. You have likely been aware of it for some time, even before this moment. You have felt it in quiet moments, in brief realizations that you quickly moved past. But now, those realizations are returning with clarity. They are no longer subtle. They are direct. And they are asking for response. This is the moment of decision. And it does not require dramatic action. It requires aligned action. It requires you to move in a way that reflects what you now understand. Even if that movement is small. Even if it is simply a shift in how you respond rather than what you say. Because sometimes the most powerful decisions are not loud. They are internal, quiet, and firm. Delay will always try to convince you that there is more time. That you can come back to this later. That you can wait until things feel easier or clearer. But the truth is, moments like this are specific. They are timed. And when they pass, the opportunity to act within that exact alignment shifts as well. It does not disappear completely, but it changes. And acting later is not the same as acting now. This is why the warning has carried urgency. Not to pressure you, but to make you aware that this moment matters. You are not being asked to leap blindly. You are being asked to step forward with awareness. To trust what has already been built within you. To recognize that everything you needed to reach this point has already been given to you. So do not overthink it. Do not complicate it. Return to what you know. Return to what you have felt consistently, not just in passing moments of doubt. Because that consistency is your guidance. And now, it is asking you to respond. Type "I choose obedience" in the comments if you are ready to act with clarity. Blessing code 1111 is now activating decisive strength within you. There is a stillness forming around you now, not the kind that comes from absence, but the kind that comes from completion. You have moved through awareness, through discernment, through silence, through responsibility, and now you stand at the final point of this unfolding. This is not the end of your journey, but it is the sealing of what has been established within you. And what is being sealed is not fragile. It is not uncertain. It is not temporary. It is something that has been confirmed, strengthened, and now protected. This is the moment where everything you have received becomes anchored. No longer shifting, no longer forming, but settled. Clear. Defined. You may feel a sense of calm that was not present before. a quiet confidence that does not need to prove itself, a clarity that does not require constant questioning. This is not coincidence. This is alignment reaching stability. This is what happens when awareness is accepted, when discernment is trusted, when silence is honored, and when decisions are made in alignment with truth. And now, protection surrounds it. Divine protection is not something you have to chase. It is something that meets you when you are aligned. It is not loud, not dramatic, not always visible, but it is constant. It operates through clarity, through timing, through the removal of what does not belong and the preservation of what does. And in this moment, that protection is being placed over everything you now carry. Archangel Michael stands not as a distant figure, but as a guardian of what has been sealed. His presence represents more than defense. It represents order. It represents boundaries that cannot be crossed without consequence. It represents a line that has now been drawn between what is aligned with you and what is not. And once that line is drawn, it does not need to be defended constantly. It holds its position because it is established in truth. You may begin to notice shifts following this moment. Not chaotic shifts, but clear ones. Things that once felt confusing will begin to resolve. Situations that once felt uncertain will begin to show their true nature. Connections that are not aligned will begin to fall away without force. And while this may feel like change, it is actually confirmation. Confirmation that what has been sealed is now being protected. Because protection does not always look like adding something new. Sometimes it looks like removing what should not have remained. This is the refinement that follows alignment. And you are not meant to resist it. You are meant to allow it. Because what is being removed is not being taken from you. It is being separated from you so that what belongs can remain undisturbed. And once that separation occurs, you will notice something else. Your energy becomes more stable. Your thoughts become clearer. Your direction becomes more consistent. This is what protection feels like. Not restriction, but clarity. Not limitation, but focus. Not isolation, but alignment. You are no longer moving through uncertainty in the same way. You are no longer questioning every step. You are no longer dependent on external confirmation to validate what you already know internally. Because what has been sealed within you now operates as its own confirmation. And this is where your trust must remain. Not in constant signs, not in repeated reassurance, but in the stability that has been established within you. Because once something is sealed, it does not need to be proven repeatedly. It simply exists steady and unshaken. There will still be moments ahead that require awareness, that require discernment, that require intentional action. But they will not feel the same as before. Because now, you are moving from a place of foundation rather than uncertainty. You are responding from clarity rather than searching for it. This is the difference. And this difference is what will carry you forward. So stand firm in what has been established. Do not reopen what has been sealed. Do not question what has already been made clear. Do not return to patterns that no longer align with where you are now positioned. Because what has been placed within you is protected, but it is also yours to maintain. And maintaining it requires consistency. Consistency in awareness. Consistency in discernment. Consistency in how you choose to move forward from this point. You are not starting over. You are continuing from a place of strength. And that strength is not temporary. It is anchored. It is sealed. It is protected. Type "I am sealed" in the comments if you receive this final confirmation. Blessing code 1212 is now surrounding your life with divine protection. As this final seal is placed over your life, Understand that what has been poured into you is not meant to stop with you. It is meant to flow, to reach, to awaken others who are still searching for clarity in the darkness. The Word declares that when you give, it is returned pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. And this is not theory. It is a living promise speaking directly into your life right now. I feel led to say this with authority. This is your moment to act. When you release a seed through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description and QR code on your screen, you are not supporting content. You are fueling a divine mission that reaches souls who are on the edge of breakthrough. Every contribution becomes a light. Every offering becomes a river. Every act of giving becomes a doorway for heaven to move through. Say it within yourself now. I choose to be part of this. Let this be your prophetic action, your moment of alignment, your response to what you have received. Do not delay, because obedience carries timing, and timing carries blessing. Release your seed now. Step into this moment fully, and watch how what you give returns to you multiplied, protected, and overflowing.